from a therapist's perspective, being alone and being lonely, the main differentiator would be your own sort of feeling towards being alone. If you are feeling content and you're feeling at peace and you're feeling relaxed by yourself, then that's totally fine. But loneliness comes with this nagging feeling of wanting to connect, right? It's actually a warning sign, and it's telling you that, like, hey, you need to seek out connections with your tribe, with other humans. And so there's this drive to want to connect with other, and with that comes maybe a sense of like unhappiness, or sometimes in extreme cases, even depressions. And so I think that's the main differentiator. If you're by yourself and you're feeling content and you're enjoying your time, whatever it is that you're doing, then yes, that's totally fine. But if you're sitting there, maybe watching Netflix, or even just enjoying your own hobby, but then it somehow doesn't satisfy you in some ways, that could be a sign of loneliness. Yes, for sure, loneliness affects our mental health and physical health in a lot of ways. When people maybe first start to feel a little bit lonely, it is a warning sign for you to seek out other human connections. However, if that's not provided to you, or it's not something that you can seek out, then that sort of becomes acute pain in some ways, right? It's like a psychological pain that you will feel for a long time, and that eventually leads to other maybe thoughts or behaviors that might not be helpful. A clinical example would be somebody who is really lonely, and they try to seek out, human connections, but they're not having success for whatever reason. And that can lead to a lot of debilitating self-doubt, right? Negative thoughts about ourselves. Oh, I must be a bad person because I'm not making any friends, or something must be wrong with me. And that rumination could become a negative cycle that really affects your mental health. And with the decline of mental health, you're less likely to put yourself out there to seek out these activities because you feel like you're not up to it. And eventually that does lead to physical health ailments as well. And so, yes, for sure, loneliness can become a big problem. And I encourage everybody to seek out help if they feel like they're in a place where they're feeling acute loneliness. I think the advice I usually talk to folks about is to be gentle to yourself. I think a lot of people place loneliness as a fault of their own, and without kind of thinking about all the other necessary things that needs to be in place for you to have a really deep connection with somebody, right? I have clients, for example, who just moved to Toronto and they feel deeply lonely, and they are very self-critical about that, and that actually kind of leads to more negative things happening in their social life. And so my advice would be just to be gentle with yourself, and that understand that genuine connection takes time. And I think a lot of folks actually don't give enough credit to the small connections we have in your life. The barista that you see and talk to in the morning, or that gym friend that you see that maybe are not your best friend, and you're not going to divulge your deepest feelings with them, but they do provide some social connections in your life. And so I would just look out for these smaller opportunities, and you may be surprised by how much they fulfill you socially.